So last night we watched the newest Day of the Dead episode. And the first thing I wanted to really say about this is that I went on IMDb and this has a 4.2, which in like IMDb television metrics, that's like a 1 for a movie. Like that's 4.2 is insane. I mean, that's almost in the threes.
Yeah.
And like television series, even like the most hated ones, typically don't drop below a 5 at best. It's 4.2. This is approaching the threes. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I Know What You Did Last Summer show is at like a 5.2. So that's super, super low as well. But television, a 7 is like a 5. I've talked about this on the channel before. Like, television series are rated a little differently than movies are, for sure. You can't take it like the same rating. So 4.2 is crazy low. That's seriously like a 2 for a movie. That's so wild low.
Yeah.
And I think that's extremely unwarranted here. I don't think this show is amazing. I don't think it's like the best show or like one of the best shows of the year. But I think it's fun for sure. And I think the problem a lot of people are having with it, I can only assume, is that, because I just showed her Day of the Dead last night. And, it was her first viewing. And, yeah, I mean, I know because I've seen it before, but having now rewatched Day of the Dead so recently, this is absolutely nothing like Day of the Dead.
Not at all.
So that is a mistake on their part. I get it. It's name brand recognition, but it doesn't really matter if you get people to watch the show if they're just going to be mad and shit on the show and not watch it anymore.
Right.
So like, yeah, you may get a bump in viewership because of the name brand recognition, but when you have a 4.2 and so many people are trashing the show, you hurt yourself by putting that name. Even if you think you helped yourself, in the beginning, it's going to hurt you in the long run. So that's just bad marketing decisions right there. Like I'm sure that they had the rights to use it. They've had plenty of Day of the Dead stuff at this point. They've made multiple like remake things. The one with like Nick Cannon, and they have that Day of the Dead 2 Contagium and all that shit. Like, yeah, Day of the Dead has definitely been used, much like Night of the Living Dead, because that Night of the Living Dead is a public domain and anyone can use it, and they release remakes and 1,000 copies of the movie on different box sets and whatever. So I get the desire to put it on there because it's a name, but man, I feel like that's why people are disliking this. As she said something like, why didn't they just call this like, what was it?
I don't know. I was like...
Zombie Town?
Zombie, yeah.
Something
City
like
of the Dead or Town of the Dead or something.
City of the Living Dead's already a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, like any
Just
name, sure.
Yeah.
Something with a cool name.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool zombie show.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have... What they should have focused on, in my opinion here, is that they should have rode the name of Stephen Kastansky for more cult horror enthusiasts. People who are into his other films, like Psycho Goreman, and like The Void, and like, his earlier stuff with Astron 6, like Father's Day. If you could have like said, and even Leprechaun Returns, which was made for the Sci-Fi Channel, so that is obviously why they're working with him again. Why not ride that, right? Like, a lot of those have name recognition, and this fits his style. This is very Kastansky. If you've watched his movies, I mean, The Void's a little different. That's a more serious version of his work. But if you've watched Psycho Goreman, if you've watched, Leprechaun Returns or any of the Astron 6 stuff, they're really playful, they're really silly, they're fun, and that's the tone that's going here. And he's directed these first 2 episodes. I don't know if he directs the whole show, but it's very much got his feel and his stamp on it. In fact, we even see clips. I think it's from Father's Day, from what I saw. It's only for like a second, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So this is very much Kastansky's vessel. And I feel like it's not getting the attention that it would, or the positive attention it would, if they didn't kind of sandbag him with the Day of the Dead title.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that. That's really the main reason I want to make this video, is because I just don't feel like this show is getting fairly treated because of a name. And I get it. It says like inspired by George A. Romero, or like it even had like a different. I said this before, but what was it? It was like dedicated or something.
Right. Yeah.
Something along those lines to George A. Romero's movies, and it's like this is more in line with Dawn of the Dead than Day of the Dead.
Sure.
Because Dawn of the Dead is way more silly and way more playful than Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead is like completely serious and super dark. And this one is a straight up horror comedy. I mean, it's super silly.
Yes.
So Day of the Dead is definitely not the one to go with as far as the title, but that's obviously the one they had to work with.
Yeah. It's a fun show, though. I mean, we've been enjoying it. There's only 2 episodes, so we'll see how we feel at the end of the season. But, like, as of right now, I mean, we were laughing last night when we watched the 2nd episode. And I think, people shouldn't get hung up on the title and trying to link it to Romero's works, because I haven't obviously seen all of Romero's zombie films, but of the 3 that I've seen, even Dawn of the Dead, I feel like this is just, it's not really similar to any of them.
No.
It's the closest to Dawn, but it's still pretty far off. But it's it's a really fun show. It's got some good zombie effects in there as well, and the humor, I think, is very well placed.
Yeah. It also, I said in my last video on this when we talked about episode 1, which we didn't even talk spoilers, which I would like to do here in a minute. But this feels way more in line with Return of the Living Dead. So if this was Return of the Living Dead TV series, I do think people would be liking this more. Maybe, I don't know. Return of the Living fanboys are kind of assholes too. But it's way more playful. It's way more in line with, I would say, Return of the Living Dead Part 2, which I think is got its own cult following. I personally love it. I grew up on it, but it's like the hated of the original 3, which I just don't get. But, it is what it is. But yeah, I could definitely see this being much more accepted as a Return of the Living Dead TV series versus, but who knows. Regardless. Anyway, so let's talk about some stuff in the show really quick. What's going on in here. So, first and foremost, the mayor's a bitch.
Yes.
And we want her dead.
Yes. We hate her.
But she's doing a good job as an actress. It's just, man, her character is awful.
Yeah.
Just awful. And I feel like every show has to have that person, right? Especially every horror show. They've got to have that antagonist that you just want to see dead.
Like, she's not really the villain of the show. I guess she kind of is.
Yeah, she's definitely the villain.
Well, but I feel like the zombies are the villains. You know what I mean?
She approved the fracking.
Yeah, but she's the reason things are starting.
Absolutely.
To an extent, but yeah, she just sucks so bad.
Do you think that we're dealing with like an Indian burial ground curse thing here?
Kind of. I mean, after the 2nd episode, they showed, some pictures of some Native Americans.
Yeah.
And I mean, that would make sense.
Why do you think they have a chain down there like that? Was that like,
I don't know, maybe
if they ever disturb this land, they're going to have a rude awakening?
Maybe something like that, or like I don't know. I mean, it was like a sleep. Like, it was kind of in like a stasis until there was a human around it. And then it woke up. So, I mean, even the drilling really wasn't disturbing it. It was more the people themselves. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It could be some kind of curse and that it was awakened whenever they went down there.
So, if they're unleashing this thing by fracking, does this make that thing a driller killer?
Yes. You could say that.
Slumber Party Massacre fans. Anyway, not the new one though. But yeah, okay, so Mayor's a bitch. Her husband is having an affair on her, which I completely understand. Yes, you want to leave. Always, leave. I don't know. She's a gun-toting lunatic.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure she would make his life, but I don't know who the hell would have an affair with him, especially since this seems to be her PR person, right?
Yeah, it's like...
And it's like, you've been this close to this woman. She carries a gun on her at all times. Like, they do have a moment in episode 2 where they kind of let the cat out of the bag that they're having an affair. Like, he thinks he's going to prison after killing this guy. And he's like, you'll wait for me, right? He doesn't say it to his wife. He says it to another woman. And she kind of looks, she knows. I mean,
yes,
she hasn't made a big deal about it yet. That's coming. But during the zombie apocalypse, especially, when all bets are off, there's no more rules, it's a lawless land. This is the worst time to have secrets come out.
Yes.
When you're around someone like that. When you're around almost anybody, but especially when you're around somebody who I don't think would have cared even if there were laws. Because she is the law.
Right.
I am the law.
She's very
authoritarian.
I
am the law.
Very authoritarian, and is awful. Her son is, he seems like a virgin. He's a virgin. That's okay. That's cool for him. I mean, that's cool.
Sure.
He seems like honestly an okay kid. I mean, he's kind of a bully to the other protagonist, who I don't know his name.
The kid he's carrying a keg around with?
No, the other guy in the first
the
episode
kid at the
graveyard.
Oh yeah, he is.
He's a bully too.
Yeah, he's
for
a
sure.
bully, man. Fuck this kid. What am I talking about?
But I mean, okay. Aside from that, right? Like
aside from him being a bully.
Well, no. Aside from that moment, right? Like, I feel like there's gonna be character growth for him at least. He doesn't seem like an asshole the way that his mom is an asshole. Right?
No, but
so I mean,
bullying is bad.
Yes, it is. I'm not condoning that at all. But I don't know. I have a feeling that he's gonna become, definitely like a hero character. I think in this show.
I mean, I can only assume, like every zombie movie show ever made, that a bite turns you. I mean,
I don't know any that I've seen where you don't get turned by a bite.
Unless you're Ellie.
Right, unless you're Ellie. But that...
They definitely do need to do that more often, where there are people that are immune.
Yes.
Because pretty much every disease known to man, there's people that are immune to it.
Yes.
Right? Like, this is definitely something people would be immune to. And, I like that. I like that there are those stories. They're so rare in the zombie lore. But yeah, I mean, they very much refer to them as zombies and no zombies.
Yes.
Like, this is not a universe in which zombies don't exist. And they're like, what's happening? They're like, no, these are zombies. And if you get bit, you turn. And they're like, we don't know that for sure. I mean, maybe this version's different. And I agree. Sure. You got to make sure, like, you're not living in a different one. I've always also wanted, this has always been my dream of making a zombie movie. I can just give away my twist right now. But I actually probably stole this from South Park, to be honest. I don't know if I had the thought before it. I probably didn't. But it is that, they go out and they're hacking up zombies like any zombie movie. And then at the end, they find out that, this was a disease and they bring in the cure and they just realize that, like, they could have saved everybody had they not killed them.
Yes.
That's reversible.
Yes.
And these people have to now deal with that they killed their moms and their kids.
Yeah.
and everything. And, you know, they were told somewhere in the beginning of the movie, like, you know, don't go out, don't leave, we're on our way, you know, but then they decide, like, no, they're not coming, and they have to leave, and they run, and then they start killing everyone, and then they're like, they get there with the cure, and they're like, the fuck did you do?
Like, we were coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a really cool thing to play with zombies, is like, if they do get cured, and if the people, obviously, who were zombies remember their time as zombies.
Yes. Watch The Cured with Ellen Page.
And just, I mean, anything from, like, a zombie's perspective, too, like, what it would be like as a zombie. I think that those are very cool concepts to play with. I don't know, but as far as, like, the bites go with this, I mean, we don't know if they're going to be turning in, like, a couple days or a couple hours, or if they have to die first, or, you know, what exactly will happen. So it'll be cool to see.
I wonder if we'll get absolutely any homages to Day of the Dead. Like, will we have a bub? You know, will we have Dr. Frankenstein? Will we have, you know, a line like, choke on him? Or anything like that.
Cool. Nice.
Would we get that? I don't know. At this point, I almost don't want it. Because it would be like the only thing.
Yeah.
And to me, that almost kind of be like a middle finger. But I feel like it's inevitable with that title.
Yeah.
You know? Because I'm sure if they have the title rights, I would assume they have the rights to do absolutely anything from it, right? They can take from it any way they want. So it's not like they're going to have any copyright issues or, you know, plagiarizing stuff there. So they could use anything they want. Will they move to an underground location?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
I don't see it. I mean, we do have a doctor, right? So anyway, getting back to the characters. So we've got a doctor who, man, okay, so the mayor sucks. But so does the doctor's wife-to-be, and way worse, well, so far, we don't know for sure, because we haven't seen the wife for more than like 5 seconds, but she sucks.
She does.
The father-in-law.
Oh my god.
Is awful. Just like the whole, like, you know, in this country, and he has to, like, the doctor has to be, like, under his breath, like, I am from this country. Because you can tell he, like, does this to him all the time.
Yes.
Like this is a reoccurring thing of like, you're not white,
so you're from another place, so
you're not from here.
It's awful. Yeah, and he's like holding over his head at the house, his job.
God, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself.
Everything is like kind of hinging on this marriage, and in the second episode, he even has he like gives him a prenup to sign. And it's like, you're not going to get the practice. Like, I was going to retire and give it to you, but actually now I think I'm just going to wait till I die.
Which is going to be soon.
It's, you know, there's some incident that happened last year that he mentioned, so we don't know what that is yet.
So he's got some kind of dirt on him.
Well, yeah, or some, I don't even know if it's dirt. It's just, it seems like maybe some medical malpractice happened where he...
That's dirt.
Well, yeah, I guess.
What do you think dirt means?
I don't know. I guess I was thinking like a secret, but I don't know if it's necessarily like a secret. I feel like
I see what you're saying.
That's what I was
okay. Yeah. It's not unknown.
Yes, yeah.
Right, it's like, without me, no one will hire you.
Yeah.
I hired you,
right,
knowing what you did. Okay, that makes sense.
So, but his wife-to-be is awful. She basically tells him that they're going to have the wedding, even though his parents can't make it there, potentially in time.
She's a total bridezilla.
Oh my god, she's the worst.
The whole cream
versus
flowers.
White roses.
And okay, speaking of which, going back to the first episode, that reminds me, whoever the guy is that's there, I don't know if he's like the wedding planner or the floral arrangement guy or what. He is either currently fucking the wife.
Oh, the doctor says that it's her ex.
It's her ex,
it's
for
her
sure.
ex-boyfriend.
But they're having an affair.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. He's gonna walk in on them like he's gonna be screwing her in the wedding gown.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
For sure.
And then the other characters are the mortician, who's really cool. I like her a lot.
Sure. She's bit.
At the funeral home. She got bit in the first episode. And then the other protagonist lad, I don't know what his name is, but the guy that was working
We don't know a single name in the entire
yet.
show.
But he had that really cool line in the second episode that you were like, whoa, that was like really profound, because he was talking about all the people at the funeral for there's people at a funeral for Peepaw. They're Peepaw, and they're all a bunch of
the amount of times I've heard Peepaw in this show.
They're all kind of a bunch of like rednecky sort of like ignorant type of people, and
not all rednecks are ignorant, by the way.
But these are very stereotypical ones.
Yes.
And yeah, he had just a really kind of cool, profound statement about them being sort of manipulated emotionally, politically.
Sure.
It was cool though. It was just kind of unexpected. Like everything else in the show has been really kind of silly and not super serious, and then that was just.
Speaking of the Return of the Living Dead whole thing here, we actually have a scene in this in which they get into the back of a hearse and they're like throwing pieces of body parts out into the road for the zombies to follow. This is mirroring an almost, recreation of something out of Return of the Living Dead 2 when they're throwing cow brains into the road and getting the zombies to follow behind them in a car. So, as I said, this feels much more like Return of the Living Dead. In that scene, we get a zombie who is torn in half by holding on to intestines with his mouth, and I guess his body is just that
decayed.
Yeah.
He rips in half, and then
How long has he been in there? I don't know. He seems pretty fresh, but he rips him in half. And that's the scene that we died on. We thought it was so funny looking. He's just kind of like sliding along the street, and he's just like surfing behind the car as he's holding on with his teeth. And he's sliding as the car drives away.
It was so good.
Now, why the people wouldn't have ran out the front door when they're distracting them all around the back door and all that stuff, I don't think that this is a show that you need to analyze logic at all. I think that would be detrimental to the show. This show's just meant to be fun.
Yeah.
Now, that isn't to say that you should take a show like this and just throw away any kind of character decisions, anything like that. I think as long as they work within the realm of the reality set within the show, that's fine.
Yes.
But if they start to take their audience for granted and start acting just completely, stupid with everything, then it's just like, okay, I feel like you're insulting me at this point. And I don't feel like that's happened at all yet. Like, everything feels like it fits in here. We even get kind of like a Weekend at Bernie's moment where they take this dead guy and like wheel him around a senior facility and try to act like he's still alive because they're trying to hide the fact that they accidentally killed him, which I found was kind of funny. Yes. And we leave off on Heeks come to life. And I guess those people in the room with him probably aren't going to fare so well.
No.
Why he would draw attention to himself hanging out with a dead body when he walks into that room around two other people, oh, this is my dad, and all this stuff. Wouldn't he have wheeled him into potentially an empty room and not left him with two other people and then try it? But as I said, this is logical decisions, and I don't think that this show is going to go down that road. No. Oh, speaking of which, this is one, though, I do have an issue with. Even in a show this dumb, the girl who works at the drilling site would never come back to work there in a million. They literally duct taped her to a fucking chair and tried to murder a police officer. And then the people show up, the higher-ups or whatever, the damage control people, and they're like, okay, you go home with pay, and you can come back tomorrow or later.
It's
and
no.
She's like, okay, and kind of shakes it off and what? What?
No way.
If your fucking people tie you, have you ever been duct taped to a chair by your work against your will as they're trying to murder a cop? Or with your blessing. Have you ever been duct taped to a chair by your work because you wanted to be? I said without your blessing, but against your will. But then I'm like, with your will? Either?
Either way.
With your will?
With
That's
your
not
will.
Something. That's not something.
Even if she needed that job desperately, there's just no way.
No
there's no way in reality that you would ever put up with that.
No.
But that's kind of something you just have to not really care about, I guess, because makes no sense. 0 sense.
Yeah. Do you think these guys are actually going to a party? Or do you think they've been set up?
I think they got set up.
Who invited this kid?
A person whose name I do not know.
Yeah, but it's no one we know.
No, it's somebody that we've met yet. He gets like a text, I think, is what it is. And they're invited to this party, so I don't think they're actually... This is kind of why I feel like, even though that kid is the mayor's son, he seems to only have this one friend. I guess he has a girlfriend, too, that we haven't met.
Sure, he's not a typical bully.
He doesn't seem like he has, like, a ton of friends and is, like, super popular, you know, which tends to be kind of the thing when people are really wealthy, because everyone wants to hang out with you for your money, and it seems like he's really only got this one guy and his girlfriend, so that's also kind of why I'm holding out hope that he's going to have a redemption arc for his bullying.
Kind of like in the Chucky show with Junior?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure that if it hasn't already been said in the show, it probably did in the first episode. In fact, I think it did, but if I remember, I could be mixing this up with something else we've been watching. But they were like BFFs before and probably had some falling out. This is always what happens in these shows. They were always best friends at one time, and then the one became too cool for the other or something. I think they probably said that in this, but as I said, we've watched a few shows recently where I feel like that's been said, and I can't remember if this is one of them, but I have no doubt that that's what's happening here.
I also thought they were brothers, too, for a while.
We did think
I thought that they were,
a while.
like... Yeah, for
2 whole episodes.
Well, because the dad is the cop, and for some reason I thought that the cop and the mayor were married, and then they split.
I agree. That's the way it felt in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the first episode.
Even if they're stepbrothers or something, I don't know.
Yeah. But it isn't. From what we know. Yeah. So it did make it seem like that for sure.
Yes.
I think it was the way it was edited.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we got the cop who was being taken off in a gurney, right? He's not dead.
No, I don't think he's dead yet. I think
he's got his finger bit off.
Yeah.
But that's it. I don't think he should have been, when they bite in the finger, choke on it. No, he shouldn't have done that. Let's see. Is there any other characters? I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it as well. At least right now.
Yeah. So, we got the old guy waking up and well, he's not old, but with the old guys, the dead guy waking up. That's that storyline going on right now. We got the doctor who's being chased right now. He was looking for the driver, and he's still being chased. Is that where that ended up?
In case you didn't know.
Yeah, she didn't know. I had to explain different clips to her. And then we got the mortician and the dude in the hearse that is driving around.
With the mayor's son and his friend.
Yeah.
And then we have...
And they got a dead body that pops up next to the keg.
Yes.
Which, of course, is a zombie.
Yes.
And I think that's it.
Yep.
Those are the 4 storylines. I don't think we're missing anybody
Oh, and
else.
then obviously the duct tape.
Well, yeah, but I don't... That's part of the COD drill site story. Yeah. So I guess that's a 5th right there. Yeah. What will happen with that? Yeah, I'll be curious on the whole, why that thing's buried down there. What are we doing with that? That's going to be interesting to me to see where that goes. But, I'm just here to have a good time with this show. I'm not expecting anything profound. I don't need any big twists or, any large character development. I just want to see some really fun... I want to see more, surfing zombies.
Yeah, me
hanging
too.
onto intestines and stuff.
That's
what I want out of this show. Yes. If Kastansky's directing every episode, I definitely think we're going to see more like that. Hopefully he's been involved in it, even if he didn't direct it, and that we can get more stuff like that. Because I just want this show to be super fun.
Me too.
That's really what I want. I have The Walking Dead to watch. I have other serious zombie shows on TV. Just have fun with this one. Make it a blast. Hopefully people watch it. It's not going to get a 2nd season. I highly, highly doubt it. So just go for fucking broke. I know it's probably already filmed at this point, but I hope they went for broke. And I'm enjoying it. 4.2 is outrageous. You guys are fucking ridiculous. Probably not you guys, but maybe some of you. Anyways, let us know if you're watching it. And we'll talk about the next episode, or maybe we'll wait for 1 or 2 of them to air. I don't know. We'll see. Bye.